The space around Kepler 442 was supposed to be empty. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the New Horizon and stared at the massive thing floating in the darkness ahead of them. It was not a ship. It was not a station. It was something else entirely. "What the hell is that?" Colonel Rick Davis asked. He moved closer to the main screen, his hand already moving toward his weapon. Dr. Lisa Martinez looked up from her scanner. "It's alive, Captain. The readings are incredible. It has a heartbeat. It has brain activity, but it's huge. Almost 2 kilometers long." The creature floated among pieces of broken metal and twisted debris. The wreckage glowed with strange lights that pulsed like dying stars. Whatever had happened here, it had been violent. The creature's body was covered in long, deep cuts that leaked a silver fluid into space. "Sir, we're getting some kind of signal from it," said Lieutenant Bobby Turner from his station. "It's not radio. It's something else. Something that's making the crew sick." Jake looked around the bridge. Half his people were holding their heads. Some looked ready to throw up. The pain in his own skull was getting worse by the minute. "It's trying to communicate," Dr. Martinez said. She was one of the few who didn't look affected by the strange signal. "I think it's in distress. It's a threat," Colonel Davis said firmly. "Look at the size of that thing. It could destroy us without even trying. We should get out of here while we can." Jake studied the creature on the screen. Its body was like nothing he had ever seen. Parts of it looked like living tissue, pink and pulsing. Other parts looked like metal and crystal grown together. Lights moved under its skin like blood in veins. Despite its size, it looked fragile. Somehow, dying. "Captain, I'm reading more ships approaching," Turner called out. "They're still far away, but they're coming fast. And, sir, their weapons match the energy signatures of whatever hurt that thing." The bridge went quiet. Everyone understood what that meant. Whatever had attacked the creature was coming back to finish the job, and the New Horizon was right in the middle of it. "How long do we have?" Jake asked. "Maybe 6 hours at their current speed," Turner replied. Dr. Martinez stepped forward. "Captain, we can't just leave it here to die. This creature is incredibly intelligent. I can feel it in the signal it's sending. It's scared and in terrible pain. It's asking for help." "It's asking for help?" Colonel Davis laughed, but there was no humor in it. "How can you possibly know that?" "Because I can understand parts of the signal. It's not just noise. There are patterns, emotions. It's like music, but music that carries meaning." Jake felt the pain in his head spike again. The creature's signal was getting stronger, more desperate. On the screen, he could see its body shuddering. The silver fluid was flowing out of its wounds faster now. "Sir, we have to make a decision," Davis said. "That thing could be dangerous. We don't know what it's capable of, and we have hostile ships heading this way. We should jump to hyperspace now." "And leave it to die?" Dr. Martinez asked. "It's not our problem," Davis replied coldly. Jake looked at his crew. They were good people. They had signed up to explore the galaxy and make contact with new life. But they had also seen what happened to ships that took foolish risks. Space was full of dangers, and aliens were often the worst of them. Young Amy Chun spoke up from her station near the back of the bridge. She was just 19, an intern studying alien languages. Most of the time, she was so quiet that people forgot she was there. "The signal is changing," she said softly. "It's getting weaker. I think it's dying." Everyone turned to look at her. Amy was pale, but she didn't look sick like the others. Her eyes were focused on something they couldn't see. "You can understand it too?" Dr. Martinez asked. Amy nodded. Slowly. "Not words, but feelings. It's so sad. And it's afraid. Not of dying, but of failing at something important." "Failing at what?" Jake asked. Amy closed her eyes and listened to the alien signal. When she opened them again, tears were running down her face. It's trying to protect something. Knowledge. I think. Something that could help people. But the attackers want to destroy it. They want to destroy everything. The creature on the screen gave a violent shudder. Several of its lights went dark. Captain, we need to decide now, Turner said. Urgently. If we're going to leave, we have to go soon. But if we're going to help it, we need to move fast. Jake looked at the dying creature. It was alien. It was dangerous. Helping it could get his entire crew killed. But it was also asking for help. And it was trying to protect something important. He thought about why he had joined the space program in the first place. It wasn't to run away from things that scared him. It was to explore, to learn, to be better than humanity had been before. All right, he said finally. We help it. Martinez, take a team and see what you can do for its injuries. Turner, get me everything you can about those approaching ships. Davis, prepare the weapons, but keep them powered down. I don't want to seem threatening. Colonel Davis started to protest, but Jake cut him off. We're not leaving it to die. That's final. As the crew jumped into action, Amy stayed at her station, listening to the creature's signal. The pain and sadness were overwhelming, but underneath it all, she could feel something else. Hope. The creature had hope now for the first time in a long while. She just hoped they could keep it alive long enough to find out what it was trying to protect. Amy Chun stared at the small maintenance pod in the shuttle bay. It was barely big enough for one person, designed for fixing things on the outside of the ship. It was definitely not meant for making contact with giant alien creatures. You're out of your mind, Colonel Davis said for the third time. Captain Morrison gave you a direct order to stay away from that thing. Amy checked the pod's life support systems. Everything looked good. The captain said the team couldn't get close enough to help it. The alien signal makes everyone too sick. But it doesn't affect me the same way. Because you're 19 and think you're invincible, Davis snapped. That wasn't true, but Amy didn't argue. She had tried to explain about her neural adaptation, how her brain processed alien signals differently than other people. But the military types never listened to. Science they didn't understand. Dr. Martinez appeared in the doorway. Amy, you can't do this. It's too dangerous. The creature is dying, Amy said simply. I can feel it getting weaker every minute. If someone doesn't help it soon, it will be too late. That's not your responsibility. Amy sealed her helmet and began the pod's startup sequence. Maybe not, but I'm the only one who can get close to it without passing out. The truth was more complicated than that. Amy had always been different. As a child, she had headaches that doctors couldn't explain. She heard sounds that others couldn't hear. Her parents thought she was making it up for attention. It wasn't. Until she started studying alien languages in college that she realized what was happening to her. Her brain was wired differently. She could process frequencies and patterns that gave other people migraines. It made her excellent at understanding alien communication, but it also made her feel isolated from other humans most of the time. Now, for the first time in her life, being different might actually help someone. The pod launched from the shuttle, bay before anyone could stop her. Amy guided it toward the massive creature floating in the debris field. As she got closer, the alien signal got stronger. But instead of pain, she felt something like music washing over her mind. The creature was beautiful up close. Its skin shimmered with colors that had no names in human language. Patterns of light moved across its surface like aurora in a planet's atmosphere. It was clearly alive, clearly intelligent, and clearly suffering. Amy positioned the pod near what looked like the creature's head. A section of its surface began to glow brighter. as if it had noticed her approach. Then the images started. They came fast and overwhelming at first. Pictures, sounds, emotions, memories that weren't her own. Amy gripped the pod's controls and tried to make sense of what she was experiencing. She saw stars being born and dying. She saw planets covered in crystal cities that sang in the wind. She saw ships that grew like plants instead of being built like machines. And she saw creatures like the one in front of her, moving through space like whales through an ocean. The creature's name came to her then, not in words, but in understanding. Starsinger. It was called Starsinger, and it was old. Older than human civilization. Older than most of the stars in this part of the galaxy. More images flooded her mind. Starsinger's people were called the Harmony Keepers. They traveled between worlds, helping different species understand each other. They prevented wars. They shared knowledge. They kept the peace in a galaxy that always seemed ready to tear itself apart. But something had gone wrong. Amy saw the attackers now, the ones whose ships were approaching. They weren't like anything she had ever imagined. They looked like machines, but they moved like living things. Their ships were dark and angular, covered in weapons that fired beams of pure destruction. The Void Reapers. That's what Starsinger called them. They consumed everything in their path. Planets, ships, entire civilizations. They left nothing behind but empty space and radiation. Amy gasped as she felt Starsinger's pain more directly. It wasn't just the physical wounds, though those were terrible enough. The creature was suffering from something else, something that attacked its mind as well as its body. Poison, Amy whispered to herself. Psychic poison. The Void Reapers had weapons that could corrupt organic minds, turning thoughts into weapons against the thinker. Starsinger was fighting a battle on two fronts, trying to heal its body while keeping its sanity intact. And it was losing. But there was something else, something that made Amy's heart race with excitement and terror. Starsinger wasn't just any Harmony Keeper. It was one of the last. And it carried something precious, something the Void Reapers desperately wanted to destroy. Knowledge, the locations of all the remaining organic civilizations in the galaxy. The Void Reapers had been hunting them one by one, but Starsinger knew where they were hiding. If the creature died, billions of innocent beings would be defenseless. But the psychic poison was scrambling Starsinger's memories. It was forgetting the locations, losing the very information it had died to protect. Amy felt Starsinger's attention focus on her more directly. The creature was curious about her, about how a young human could understand its signals so clearly. In all its centuries of travel, it had never met a species quite like humans. Then Amy felt something that made her sit up straight in the pod's cramped cockpit. Recognition. Starsinger had been looking for humans. Not just any humans, but humans. From this time period, this stage of their development, the creature shared one more image with her, and this one made Amy's blood turn cold. She saw the future, or at least one possible future. She saw humans who had evolved beyond biology, who had become something like machines themselves. She saw them consuming other species, destroying worlds, becoming the very monsters that were. Now attacking Starsinger, the Void Reapers weren't aliens at all. They were humans. Humans from a future where they had lost their compassion, their connection to other living things. But Starsinger believed it could be prevented. The Harmony Keepers had seen many possible futures, and in some of them, present-day humans found a different path. They became protectors instead of destroyers. They learned to balance their aggressive nature with wisdom and empathy. Amy was still processing this revelation when alarms started going off in her pod. The New Horizon was trying to contact her, probably to order her back to the ship, but she couldn't leave now. Starsinger was sharing something else with her. Something. IMPORTANTA plan. a way to fight the psychic poison and heal the creature's wounds. But it would require a direct neural link, something no human had ever attempted with an alien mind. It would be dangerous. It might kill her. But it was the only chance Starsinger had. Amy looked back at the new horizon, then at the dying creature. In front of her, the approaching Void Reaper ships were getting closer. Soon they would arrive and finish what they had started, unless someone was brave enough to try something impossible. Amy returned to the new horizon to find Captain Morrison pacing the bridge like a caged animal. The moment she stepped out of the shuttle bay, he was there waiting for her. "You disobeyed a direct order," he said, but his voice carried more worry than anger. "I learned something important," Amy replied. "The creature, Starsinger, it's not just dying from its wounds. It's being poisoned by something that attacks the mind. And Captain, the ships that are coming, they're not what we think. They are." Colonel Davis stepped forward. "What do you mean?" Amy took a deep breath. "They're humans from the future. They call themselves the Void Reapers, but they used to be like us. Something went wrong in their timeline. They lost their humanity and became destroyers. The bridge fell silent." Amy could see the disbelief on everyone's faces. "That's impossible," Davis said finally. "Starsinger showed me. The Harmony Keepers can see across time, across different possible futures. In some timelines, humans become the galaxy's protectors. In others, we become its greatest threat." Dr. Martinez moved to her scanner console. "The approaching ships will be here in 4 hours. If what Amy says is true, we need to act fast." Captain Morrison studied Amy's face. "You said the creature is being poisoned mentally. Can it be cured? Maybe, but it would require a direct neural link. Someone would have to connect their mind to Starsinger's and help fight the poison from the inside." "Absolutely not," Davis said immediately. "It's too dangerous. We don't know what that thing might do to a human mind." "It's not a thing," Amy said firmly. "It's a person. An ancient, wise person who has spent centuries helping others. And it's dying because it tried to protect the galaxy from those ships out there." Bobby Turner looked up from his engineering station. "Even if we wanted to try this neural link thing, how would we do it? We don't have the technology." Amy had been thinking about that during her flight back to the ship. "We would need to modify the medical bay, create some kind of interface that could handle both human and alien neural patterns." Dr. Martinez nodded slowly. "It might be possible. The medical bay has neural monitoring equipment. If we could adapt it and connect it to the ship's main computer, we might be able to create a bridge between 2 different types of consciousness." "This is insane," Data said. "You're talking about plugging a human brain into an alien creature. It could kill her. It could drive her mad. It could turn her into something that's not human anymore." Amy looked at him calmly. "Colonel, in 4 hours, the Void Reapers will be here. They'll finish killing Starsinger, and then they'll have the locations of every hidden civilization in the galaxy. Billions of innocent people will die. If there's a chance to prevent that, don't we have to try?" Captain Morrison was quiet for a long moment. "What exactly would this neural link involve?" "I would connect my mind to Starsinger's. Together, we could fight the psychic poison that's scrambling its memories. If we succeed, Starsinger would be able to remember the information it's trying to protect. And it might be able to heal its physical wounds, too. And if you fail?" Amy shrugged. "And we're no worse off than we are now. Except I'll probably be dead." "Amy," Dr. Martinez said gently, "you're 19 years old. You have your whole life ahead of you. Is this really worth risking everything?" Amy thought about the images Starsinger had shared with her. The crystal cities singing in alien winds. The Harmony Keepers moving through space like angels, bringing peace to a violent galaxy. The possible futures where humans learn to be something better than they were. Yes, she said simply. It's worth it. Captain Morrison made his decision. Turner, work with Dr. Martinez to modify the medical bay. I want that neural interface ready in 2 hours. Martinez, prepare for the most complex medical procedure of your career. And Amy, I want you to rest and prepare mentally for what you're about to attempt. Colonel Davis stepped forward. Captain, I have to protest this decision. You're risking the life of a crew member based on the word of an alien creature we know nothing about. I'm trying to save billions of lives based on the word of a crew. Member I trust, Morrison replied. If Amy says Star Singer can be helped, then we help it. The next 2 hours passed in a blur of activity. Bobby Turner and his engineering team worked alongside Dr. Martinez to create something that had never been built before. They took neural monitoring equipment from the medical bay and connected it to the ship's most advanced computer systems. They created interfaces that could translate between human and alien thought patterns. Amy spent the time in her quarters, trying to prepare for what was coming. She meditated, practiced the mental exercises she had learned in her xenolinguistics training, and tried not to think about all the ways the procedure could go wrong. Star Singer's signal continued to reach her even through the ship's hull. The creature was getting weaker, but it was also hopeful. It could sense the preparations being made on the new horizon. For the first time in weeks, it believed it might survive. When the neural interface was ready, Amy lay down on the modified medical table. Sensors were attached to her head, arms, and chest. The computer systems hummed with power around her. Are you ready? Dr. Martinez asked. Amy nodded. Connect me to Star Singer. The world exploded into sensation. Amy felt her consciousness expand beyond her own body, reaching out through space to touch the mind of the ancient alien. For a moment, the difference between human and Harmony Keeper thought patterns was overwhelming. Amy felt like she was drowning. In an ocean of alien experience, and Star Singer's presence surrounded her, gentle and protective. The creature guided Amy's consciousness, helping her navigate the strange landscape of its mind. Together, they found the poison. It was like a dark infection spreading through Star Singer's memories, turning knowledge into confusion, hope into despair. The Void Reapers had created this weapon specifically to torture creatures like the Harmony Keepers. Amy reached out with her human consciousness and began to fight the infection. She used her species' natural stubbornness, the refusal to give up even when faced with impossible odds. She wrapped her determination around the poison like a shield, protecting Star Singer's memories from further damage. The battle was fierce. The psychic poison fought back, trying to corrupt Amy's mind, as it had corrupted Star Singer's. But Amy had something the ancient creature didn't. She was young, and she was angry. She was furious at the idea that future humans could become the monsters attacking Star Singer. She was determined to prove that humanity could be better. Slowly, bit by bit, they pushed the poison back. Star Singer's memories began to clear. The locations of the hidden civilizations came back into focus. The creature's natural healing abilities began to work on its physical wounds, but the effort was enormous. Amy felt her strength draining away. She was fighting a weapon designed by beings far more advanced than present-day humans. She was outmatched, and she knew it. That's when she felt something unexpected. Other minds were touching hers. Human minds from the new horizon. Dr. Martinez was there, and Bobby Turner, and even Colonel Davis. They were sharing their strength with her, helping her fight the poison that was trying to destroy Star Singer. Amy realized that Captain Morrison had made a choice. Instead of just connecting her to the alien, he had connected the entire crew to the neural link. They were all fighting together, human and alien, to save Star Singer and stop the Void Reapers. Poison didn't stand a chance against that kind of unity. The neural link had changed everything. Amy could feel Star Singer's consciousness intertwined with her own, and through that connection, she could sense the approaching Void Reaper fleet more clearly than any scanner could show her. There were 12 ships, each one a twisted mockery of what human engineering might become. They moved through space with purpose and hunger, seeking to finish what they had started. The poison in Star Singer's mind was their work, designed to make the ancient being suffer before it died. But the poison was gone now, burned away by the combined will of the New Horizons crew. Star Singer's memories were clear again, and with them came terrible knowledge. "Captain," Amy said, her voice strange and distant as she spoke from the neural link. "I can see what Star Singer knows. There are millions of civilizations hiding throughout the galaxy. The Void Reapers have been hunting them for decades. They want to consume everything organic, everything alive." Captain Morrison stood beside the medical table where Amy lay connected to the alien interface. "Can Star Singer fight them?" Through the link, Amy felt Star Singer's response. Images flowed through her mind, memories of a time when the Harmony Keepers had tried to stop the Void Reapers before. It had been a disaster. The future humans were too advanced, too powerful. They had destroyed entire fleets of organic ships, without breaking formation. "Not alone," Amy said. "Star Singer's people tried to fight them before. They lost. The Void Reapers have weapons that can turn living tissue into energy. They can corrupt organic minds from light years away. They're everything we might become if we lose our humanity." Colonel Davis paced the medical bay. "Then we run. We take Star Singer and get out of here." "No," Amy said firmly. "Star Singer has something they want. Something called the Restoration Matrix. It's a weapon that can reverse what the Void Reapers have become. It can turn them back into the humans they used to be." Dr. Martinez looked up from her medical scanners. "Turn them back? How?" Amy closed her eyes and let Star Singer's memories flow through her. The Harmony Keepers built it long ago, when they first realized what the future humans were becoming. It's not a weapon that destroys. It's a weapon that heals. It can reach into corrupted minds and restore their original organic patterns. "Where is this weapon?" Morrison asked. "Star Singer is the weapon," Amy replied. "The Harmony Keepers didn't build a machine. They evolved themselves into living versions of the Matrix. Star Singer can restore the Void Reapers, but it needs a guide, an organic consciousness to direct the process." The implications hit everyone at once. Star Singer could save the Void Reapers, turn them back into normal humans. But someone would have to control the process, and that someone would likely die from the effort. "I'll do it," Amy said before anyone could object. "I'm already linked to Star Singer. I can guide the Matrix." "Absolutely not," Morrison said. "You're 19 years old. I'm not sending a teenager to die." Amy felt Star Singer's gentle presence. In her mind, the ancient being was offering an alternative. Amy could merge permanently with its consciousness, becoming part of the Harmony Keeper. She would survive, but she would never be fully human again. "There might be another way," Amy said slowly. "Star Singer says I could join with it completely, become part of what it is. I would survive the process, but I wouldn't be entirely human anymore." The medical bay fell silent. Through the neural link, Amy could feel the emotions of her crewmates. Fear, sadness, determination, and love. They cared about her, but they also understood what was at stake. "There has to be a third option, Bobby," Turner said from his engineering station. "There's always a third option." Amy felt a spark of something in her mind. Not from Star Singer, but from her own human consciousness. An idea that was entirely stubbornly human. "What if we don't limit ourselves to one mind controlling the Matrix?" she said. "What if we use all of us?" Dr. Martinez frowned. "What do?" You mean? The neural link already connects me to Starsinger and to all of you. What if we expand it? Connect the entire crew to the Matrix? Instead of one person controlling it, we all do it together. Colonel Davis stepped forward. That's never been tried. We don't know what it would do to the crew. It would mean everyone volunteers to risk their life, Amy said. All 847 people on this ship would have to agree to link their consciousness together. If it fails, we all die. If it succeeds, we save not just the galaxy, but the Void Reapers themselves. Captain Morrison considered this. A collective consciousness, like a hive mind. Not a hive mind, Amy corrected, more like an orchestra. Everyone plays their own instrument, but they all play the same song. We keep our individual selves, but we work together for the same goal. Through the neural link, Amy felt star singers. Amazement. In all its centuries of travel, the ancient being had never encountered a species that thought like humans. They didn't accept impossible choices. They found third options. They refused to believe that someone had to die for others. To live, the Void Reapers will be here in 1 hour, Turner reported. If we're going to try this, we need to decide now. Morrison looked around the medical bay at his crew. These were people who had signed up to explore space, not to risk their lives in an impossible battle against the future. But they were also people who had joined the neural link to help Amy save Starsinger. They had already shown what they were willing to do for others. I need to address the entire crew, Morrison said. Everyone has to volunteer for this. No one gets forced into the link. 20 minutes later, every person on the New Horizon gathered in the main auditorium. Captain Morrison explained the situation, the approaching ships, the restoration matrix, the plan to link all their minds together to save not just the galaxy, but their enemies as well. This has never been attempted, Morrison said. We don't know if it will work. We don't know if we'll survive. All we know is that if we do nothing, billions of innocent people will die, and humanity's future will be the dark one they created. The Void Reapers. The vote was unanimous. Every single crew member, from the most senior officers to the newest recruits, agreed to join the neural link. They would face the Void Reapers not as conquerors, but as healers. As the enemy ships approached, Amy felt the consciousness of every person on the New Horizon flowing into the neural link. She felt their fears, their hopes, their determination to do the right thing, even when it seemed impossible. Starsinger's presence grew stronger as well, ancient wisdom combining with human stubbornness to create something entirely new. They were no longer just a human crew and an alien refugee. They were something unprecedented in galactic history. They were ready to show the Yao Void Reapers what humanity could become when it chose compassion over conquest. The Void Reaper ships dropped out of hyperspace like dark angels of death. 12 vessels, each one larger than the New Horizon, their hulls covered in weapons that could turn planets into dust. They moved in perfect formation, no wasted motion, no hesitation. Amy felt their approach through the neural link. That now connected every person on the New Horizon to Starsinger. The ancient alien had become the heart of their collective consciousness, while Amy served as its voice. She could feel 847 human minds working together, their individual thoughts harmonizing into something greater than the sum of its parts. They're scanning us, Bobby Turner reported from his engineering station, though his voice sounded different now. Through the neural link, his technical knowledge was available to everyone. Amy could understand the ship's systems as well as he could. Captain Morrison stood on the bridge, but he was no longer just the captain. He was the will of the entire crew made manifest. Open a channel to the Void Reaper fleet. The main screen flickered to life, showing the interior of the lead enemy ship. The being that appeared was recognizably human in shape, but wrong in every other way. Its skin was pale gray metal. Its eyes glowed with cold blue light. When it spoke, its voice had no emotion at all. Organic vessel, you will surrender the Harmony Keeper immediately. Resistance will result in your destruction. Amy stepped forward to respond, but she was no longer just Amy Chun, 19-year-old intern. She was the voice of humanity's potential, speaking with the wisdom of Starsinger and the determination of every person on the New Horizon. We are the New Horizon Collective, she said. We know what you are. You are humans from a possible future, humans who lost their way. We're here to help you remember what you used to be. The Void Reaper's expression didn't change. We are evolved. We have transcended the weakness of organic existence. You will surrender the Harmony Keeper or be destroyed. No, Amy said simply. We won't. The Void Reaper fleet opened fire. The attack was unlike anything in human military history. Energy beams that could cut through planets struck the New Horizon's shields. Weapons designed to corrupt organic matter tried to tear apart the ship's living crew. The assault should have destroyed them in seconds. Instead, something impossible happened. Starsinger's body, still floating in space near the New Horizon, began to glow. The restoration matrix was activating, powered not by one mind or even two, but by the combined consciousness of nearly 1,000 humans and one ancient. Alien working together, the matrix reached out across space, not as a weapon, but as a healing force. It touched the minds of the Void Reapers, searching for the organic patterns that still existed deep within their cybernetic forms. Amy felt the moment of contact. The Void Reapers weren't just corrupted humans from the future. They were prisoners, inside their own modified bodies, their organic consciousness trapped by the machines they had become. They had been screaming silently for centuries, unable to remember what they used to be. The lead Void Reaper's face flickered, metal features shifting to show something more human underneath. What are you doing to us? We're setting you free, Amy replied. The battle became something entirely different then. Instead of firing weapons, the New Horizon projected the restoration matrix toward each enemy ship. Amy guided the healing energy with her human consciousness while Starsinger provided the power. The rest of the crew supported them. They're combined. We'll focused on one goal, bringing their lost descendants home. One by one, the Void Reaper ships began to change. Their dark hulls lightened. Their angular shapes softened. The beings inside them started to remember what they had been before they chose cold logic over warm emotion. But the process was fighting against centuries of conditioning. The Void Reaper's programming told them to resist, to destroy anything organic, to consume and conquer. Amy felt their struggle, and she reached out to them with pure human compassion. We know you're afraid, she said, her voice carrying across space through the neural link. We know you think you've gone too far to come back, but you haven't. It's never too late to choose to be better. The lead Void Reaper ship was closest to complete transformation. Its captain appeared on screen again, but now Amy could see tears running down very human cheeks. We destroyed so much, the captain whispered. We consumed entire worlds. How can we come back from that? The same way anyone comes back from their worst mistakes, Amy said, by choosing to do better from now on, by helping instead of hurting, by protecting instead of destroying. Starsinger's presence flowed through the neural link, sharing its memories of redemption and forgiveness. The Harmony Keepers had seen countless species make terrible choices and then find their way back to the light. It was never easy, but it was always possible. The transformation spread through the Void Reaper fleet. Ships that had been instruments of death became vessels of hope. Beings that had forgotten how to feel remembered joy and sorrow and love. The future humans were becoming human again, but the effort was enormous. Amy felt the neural link straining. under the power required to heal 12 ships full of corrupted minds. The collective consciousness of the New Horizon was beginning to fracture under the pressure. "We're losing cohesion," Dr. Martinez reported, her voice tight with strain. "The neural link can't handle this much energy flow." Amy felt it too. The beautiful harmony of 847 minds working together was starting to break apart. Individual crew members were being overwhelmed by the alien thoughts and emotions flowing through the connection. Some were starting to panic, their fear threatening to cascade through the entire collective. But just when it seemed like the plan would fail, Amy felt something new entering the neural link. The restored Void Reapers were adding their own consciousness to the collective, lending their advanced mental capabilities to support the healing process. "Let us help," the lead captain said, his voice now fully human again. "We know what it's like to be lost. Let us help guide the others home." The neural link stabilized and grew stronger. Human determination combined with alien wisdom and the advanced consciousness of the restored future humans. Together, they formed something that had never existed before in galactic history. A truly unified organic collective that preserved individual identity while working toward a common goal. The remaining Void Reaper ships transformed rapidly now, their crews remembering what it meant to be human. But more than that, they remembered what it could mean to be human. They saw through the neural link what present-day humanity was capable of: compassion for enemies, sacrifice for strangers, and the stubborn refusal to accept that anyone was. Beyond redemption, when the last ship completed its transformation, the neural link began to fade. The collective consciousness gently separated back into individual minds, though everyone retained the memory of what it had felt like to be truly united with others. Amy found herself back in her own body, lying on the medical table in the New Horizon's sick bay. But she was changed. The neural link with Star Singer had left permanent traces. She could still sense the ancient alien's presence, and through it, she could feel the emotions and thoughts of the restored human fleet. Star Singer's physical body had also changed during the healing process. The silver wounds had sealed themselves, and new patterns of light flowed under its skin. The ancient being was no longer just a refugee. It had become something new, a bridge between species and times. Captain Morrison helped Amy sit up. "How do you feel?" Amy considered the question. She felt human, but also more than human. She could sense thoughts and emotions from across space. She could understand languages she had never studied. She was still Amy Chun, but she was also something unprecedented. Different, she said honestly, but good. Complete, somehow. The communication screen activated, showing the captain of the lead restored ship. He looked fully human now, but his eyes held the wisdom of centuries. "We owe you a debt that can never be repaid," he said. "You showed us a path back to ourselves, when we thought no such path existed. We want to make amends for what we did as Void Reapers." Captain Morrison nodded. "What will you do now?" "We'll join Star Singer in its mission. We have knowledge of technology and threats that exist in our timeline. We can help protect the civilizations we once hunted. We can teach others about the dangers of losing one's humanity to the pursuit of power." Amy stood up from the medical table, her legs shaky but strong. Through her permanent link with Star Singer, she could sense the aliens' joy at this outcome. The Harmony Keepers had always believed that any species could choose to be better, but they had never seen such a dramatic transformation. "There's something else," Amy said. "The neural link showed us what's possible when different species work together. We could form something new. Not human, not alien, but something that preserves the best of both." Over the following weeks, they did exactly that. The New Horizon became the first ship of what they called the Harmony Fleet. Humans, Harmony Keepers, and the restored future humans worked together to contact the hidden civilizations throughout the galaxy. Amy served as the fleet's first ambassador. Her unique connection to Star Singer, allowing her to communicate with species that had never encountered humans before. She found that her neural adaptation, the same difference that had made her feel isolated as a child, now made her